All right, Daily Wire has this report. CNN devoted multiple segments on Thursday to coverage of a Washington Post report about President-elect Donald Trump's defense secretary nominee Pete Hegseth, criticizing him for drinking beer during a Fox and Friends segment about St. Patrick's Day. The story came just as NBC News ran a hit piece citing a number of anonymous sources, but apparently not bothering to speak to his former co-hosts and colleagues at Fox News, accusing Hegseth of drinking to excess on a regular basis. Then the article points out that, over on CNN for their New Year's Eve coverage, they get totally plastered. I mean, they get Anderson Cooper and his co-hosts get annihilated on camera, and that apparently isn't a problem. So this is the latest allegation against Pete Hegseth, that they're hitting him for drinking, to excess, allegedly drinking on air. Here's one of those CNN segments. Watch.
Development as Pete Hegseth fights to hold on to his nomination for defense secretary. He arrived on Capitol Hill just a short time ago. As new reporting from the Washington Post cites 6 former Fox News employees who say they witnessed Hegseth drinking at questionable moments. They say Hegseth, quote, had a reputation as a heavy drinker, and they say they saw him, quote, drinking on the job or visibly drunk at work events. CNN has learned that Hegseth has faced questions from senators, including, are you an alcoholic? Are you a womanizer? And did you embezzle money?
So drinking at questionable moments on air for a St. Patrick's Day segment is what happened. But this has been the new scandal. Leftists are all over it. Very scandalized by Pete Hegseth drinking alcohol. There was also this tweet from an account called Decoding Fox News. It says, some anonymous sources at Fox News claim Pete Hegseth sometimes drinks alcohol while working. He openly drank Tennessee whiskey while filming The War on Warriors for Fox Nation. I provide receipts. She has the receipts. She's dug up this secret footage of a segment that was filmed and aired. Pete apparently filmed an interview with some other veterans, and they sat around and talked and drank whiskey. Tennessee whiskey, of all things. It's important to add that in there. Tennessee, if they drank, Irish whiskey or something, maybe it'd be one thing, but Tennessee whiskey. So this is supposed to be very scandalous. Let's actually watch. Here's the receipt. Here's the receipt of this very dark and depraved moment. Let's watch it.
Keep going. Keep going.
We're good.
You got it. Well, thank you guys for making the trip.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Hey. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers to Warriors. Appreciate you.
Cheers. Thank you, sir.
Welcome to a special edition of Modern Warriors. War on Warriors. We are all here at an undisclosed location outside of Nashville, Tennessee, to talk about these concerns over some Tennessee whiskey with real warriors.
Wow, pretty horrifying stuff. Drinking on the job is horrible. Never mind the fact that everybody used to drink on the job. To get all bent out of shape about drinking in general is kind of hilarious, considering that like every great leader and great man in history drank. So this idea that, well, he can't be defense secretary. He drinks. Oh, you mean like everyone ever who's been in any position of leadership for like 10,000 years? This was a normal part of the culture, like of pretty much every culture until recently. I mean, still a lot of people drink, but your grandfather was drinking whiskey at 1 p.m. on work days, okay? And the world functioned pretty well back then. Pretty well. I mean, the world, the civilization, the society that brought us from horse and buggy to the moon in the span of 60 or 70 years, all those people were drinking whiskey in the afternoon, okay? But never mind that, drinking on the job's terrible. Drinking on air is especially terrible. But I have to tell you, I do have to reveal this. This is a widespread problem, actually, drinking on air. In fact, you weren't expecting this, but I'm going to be a whistleblower right now. This is me turning whistleblower here at the Daily Wire. And because I'll tell you that here at the Daily Wire, there are people here who drink on air, okay? I'm not going to mention any names, but there are people who are certainly not qualified to be defense secretary, it turns out, due to their rampant on-air drinking. So let me show you this. Here's secret footage that I've captured of a Daily Wire backstage episode. It's just the most recent one. And I want you to, and you won't be able to see this. You have to watch the video. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, you got to watch the video. But look at what you see in the foreground. This is pretty disturbing. Watch this.
You hear people talk about it, kind of taking it for granted, not approaching it with not just the reverence, but the fascination that I think these books deserve.
There also is this problem we have in modernity, which is we clearly took a wrong exit at some point, and you see that all around us. But if you take a wrong exit and you go 500 miles down the road, you don't just get to teleport.
So there you
back.
see it. That was Daily Wire host Michael Knowles, and you notice the bottles of whiskey in front of him, multiple bottles of whiskey in front of him. And I can tell you that Michael Knowles drank during that backstage episode. He drinks during all of them. And he smokes alcohol and tobacco on air while children could be watching. It's objectionable, incredibly. Now, I know you might be thinking, wait a minute, Matt, don't you also drink during every backstage episode? Don't you arguably drink more than any of them during you'll see me with a whiskey glass consuming a brownish liquid. That's not whiskey, that's apple juice. I always tell them, anyone here can tell you, I'm all about apple juice. And so before we start, I say, bring me my nice apple juice. Give me a nice apple juice to sip on for this. And so that's how I relax. I relax with a bit of apple juice. Big apple juice guy, but I object to the alcohol consumption. I tell them all the time. I say, fellas, this is not right. This is a bad example. I say it. That's what I say. I do. I promise. So pretty terrible stuff. All joking aside for a moment, I would just move on from there. But I do have to say, I can't just leave it there because you got to hold the line here. This has to be, you draw a line here. I mean, with Pete Hegseth, because these scandals that they keep pulling up, they're either obviously totally bogus, the rape claims, and you notice how they've moved on from that, by the way. Okay, let's talk about that for a moment. If the left actually believed the rape claim that was made, then they wouldn't be moving on to digging up videos of Pete Hegseth, having a sip of whiskey with his military buddies, okay? You wouldn't move on to that if you actually thought the guy was a rapist, okay? If you believed the story that he, I guess, coaxed some woman up to his hotel room, wouldn't let her, kidnapped her. That means he's guilty. I mean, if it was true, what he was accused of, then he should be in prison for the rest of his life. This is like kidnapping, this is assault, rape, I mean, all these things. So if you really believe that, you wouldn't now be talking about, he said he drank some whiskey during or had a beer on a St. Patrick's Day segment. So the fact that you're getting this kind of like machine gun fire of these fake scandals, it shows you that part of it is like they're trying to flood the zone. And but why do they do that? It's because they know that none of them mean anything. They know that either they're totally made up and bogus, or the scandals are not scandals. It's just nothing. It's ridiculous. And that's what you do. That's what, when you don't have, if you've got real dirt on somebody, if you've got something real, something serious, something that could really destroy them, then you put that out there and you just hammer that constantly. What you don't do if you have real dirt is just dump a bunch of other dirt on top of it, or stuff that isn't even dirt, but like so that the one thing you have gets buried under all the other nonsense. When you see them start using this tactic, that's how you know that they really got nothing. And which is why Republicans absolutely need to hold the line on this. This just makes it all the more important that Pete Hegseth is confirmed. You cannot let this kind of tactic win. And I'll tell you one thing, that if it does, if the left does win on this, if this does prove successful, that's a very, very bad sign for the next 2 years. because we need Republicans. You've got 2 years. You've got only 2 years that you can be sure of. It probably will only be 2 years because in recent history, midterm elections usually don't go very well for the party in power. So you can only count on 2 years. You've got 2 years to advance your agenda. You've got 2 years to push through the policies and everything else that you ran on, that Trump ran on, that all these Republicans ran on. And you're going to have to do it, obviously, over the objection of leftists. They're going to be crying and whining about it the whole time. They're going to try to make every single thing you do into a major scandal. And so if Republicans start off by caving and not holding the line on Pete Hegseth, then that sets a very bad precedent going forward. So this has to be a deal breaker. It just has to be. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.